some equivalent fractions here, and Ellie is here to tell us what equivalent fractions actually are.
Fractions which have the same value even though they may look different. Example, 1/2 and 2/4 are equivalent because they are both half.
Okay, so show me with the fraction bars. So there's your 1/2.
1/2 and 2/4.
And when you look at them, they're actually the exact same size, right?
Yep.
Awesome job.
Number.
Okay, so what you're telling me right here is that you have one fraction piece right here that's 1/4, and you found that 2 different fractions could fit on top here, right?
Yep.
And it's exactly equal. So can you show me, can you write out 1/4 for me and show me how you figured out 2x would be equal to 1/4?
1 and 4 times 2.
Okay, now if we do the top number and the bottom number, the numerator and the denominator have to be times by the same number. Awesome. So when we look here, Corey, why don't you zoom in right here? We've got 1/4
How do I zoom in?
is equal to 2/8, just like his math does right here. Okay, so what Daniel is trying to explain is that if we have 1/4 and 2 1/8, we would have 1/8 plus 1/8 would equal 2/8. So let's see. If we take Daniel's 1/4 and we want to figure this out in a different way using math, we know that we have to try to get to 2/8 because he already showed us that it's equal to with the fraction pieces. So if we look, we want to get from 1/4 to 2/8. We're going to multiply it by another fraction, and the numerator and the denominator both have to be the exact same number. So what does it take to get from 1 to 2? What number can we multiply it by? Yeah, 2. 1 times 2 equals 2. So we're going to keep that same number and put it down below in the denominator, and we would have 4 times 2, which equals 8. So since our numerator and denominator were the exact same, 1/4 is equal to 2/8.
1/4 plus equals 3/12 2/4. Here are here are the fraction pieces that we had to, and that's one way to get it. And then down here is another way. You can just multiply the numerators and the denominators by the same number, and you'll get an equivalent fraction. Same thing for over here. 1 times 2 equals 2, and 12 times 2 equals 24 bars.
And you found that if you took 1/4, how many of the 1/12 pieces did you need to equal 1/4?
3.
Yeah, so what can you tell me? What have you learned about equivalent fractions?
They have to be the same number. They have to measure the same and be the same on the outsides.
Right, they have to be the exact same length, right? They can't be too long or too short or overlap when we're looking at circles. So, I love that thing that Reed was talking about when you get down to your fraction math, okay, you always have to multiply the numerator and the denominator by what?
By the same number.
By the same number. So in the first one, for 1/4, you multiplied it by 3 to get 3/12. And then for your 1/12, what did you multiply it by?
2.
2 to get 2/24, which would be the exact same. Jenna, Ashlyn, and Ava, and they're going to explain equivalent fractions to us.
Well, we're going to show you a lot easier way to get equal fractions instead of having to draw them out.
2 too. Like if we do 5 times 2, it would equal 10. And 6 times 2 would equal 12.
Perfect.
And we times it by 2, so that's how you would get 10 twelfths to equal by 5 6.
Yeah. Okay, so tell me about this other one. You've got 6 twelfths, and then you did some math, and you got 12 24ths. How did you get that one?
We did the same thing as this one. We times 2 to 6. We times 6 times 2 equals 12.
Okay.
12 times 2 equals 24. That's how it's equal to each other.
So you learned that you have to multiply the numerator and the denominator by what?
2.
Or,
Any number.
but
And
as long
the
as...
same number as top and bottom.
Yep, you have to multiply the numerator and the denominator by the exact same number, and you get an equivalent fraction. Awesome job.
36.
So they're giving us a new one to solve.
And we're going to times it by 2 again.
Do you always have to times it by 2?
No.
No.
But we're just going to do that so then we start off easy.
Start easy, that's right.
And
We're going to give you some time
to try to figure it out. Because we really don't have any space up there. Let's do 9 and 10. We're going to times it by 3.
to make it a little bit harder.
Okay.
Can you solve this one again? But it's not the same. Did you get 27 30th? Equivalent fractions are equal fractions that you multiply by any number and get the answer. Like 7/8, if you multiply by 8, it gives you 56/64. When I take 1/2, I took 1/4, placed it there, and then I took another 1/4 and placed it by the 1/4, and then I got the exact same thing as 1/2.
Yeah, because 1/2, we have one 1/2 bar, and then how many 1/4 bars do we have?
2.
Yeah, so 1/2 is equal to 2 fourths. Awesome. David and Devin, and they're also going to give us some examples of equivalent fractions.
5 tenths is equal to 15/30. This is how I got it. Because 5 times a number equals 15. We chose 3, so 5 times 3 equals 15, and 10 times 3 equals 30. And also, the numbers have to be the same.
Another one is 10 twelfths is equal to 20 24ths. The way we picked the number was 2, so 10 times 2 is 20, and 12 times 2 is 24. So it's 20 24ths. 12 sixteenths is equal to question mark. Figure it out and do times it by 2. So pause it and figure it out before you see the answer. And you should have got 24 32s. So that's equivalent fractions.
Show me one that you've done.
1/2 equals 6/12. Well, here's a picture. So, and there's 6 little 12s on your face.
I think you have something to say, right?
So, 5 times 2 equals 10, which you probably all know. 10 times 2 equals 20. So you probably all know again. So, here's another one. I also kind of want you to figure this one out and pause it. 10 times 3 equals, I don't know. 20 times 3 equals, I don't know. So, 10 times 3 equals 30. 20 times 3 equals 40. 20, 40, 60. If you haven't noticed, I wrote it down here kind of lightly. 30 60s.
30, 60s. Awesome.
Onto your face.
Give me an example of an answer that you might have found for the 1/2. what could 1/2 be equal to?
I would do times 4.
Okay.
So,
Will you show me your work? Will you work this out for me?
okay, so
Do you have to
1
set it down? You
times
can.
4 equals, 4.
You're okay.
And 2 times 4 equals 8.
So 1/2 is the same as?
4/8.
Very good. We have Ashley here, who's also going to give us some examples of equivalent fractions from her poster. Let's go on to your next one I see. Oh, you chose to multiply it by 3.
Yeah, so like 2 times 3 equals 6. So if you take 5 times 3, it equals 15. These two numbers have to be the same because then there will be equivalent fractions. These
Perfect.
two numbers have to be the same.
That is awesome. So 2/5 is equal to?
6/15.
Awesome. Now, I noticed that you also did one using division. Can you explain that to me?
Like, I picked 2 big numbers that I know can be divided by 3. So I picked
Okay.
18 27, so I divided it by 3, and it equals 6. Then I did 27, because I know that can be divided by 3. So then I did divide by 3, and it equals 9.
So 18/27 is equal to?
6/9.